Hey everybody. War. Russia, not the Soviet Union, or as I am apt to call Russia, having grown up in I went to high school in the 80s. All of my teens were lived in the 80s. Soviet Union is engraved in my consciousness. Some of you watching weren't even born when the Berlin Wall came down. So forgive me if I sometimes say the Soviet Union instead of Russia. But Russia invaded a former Soviet state, Ukraine, today. I mean, much, much earlier today at this point, but yeah, today. And a lot of people, maybe not a lot, percentage wise, who knows? I don't know. I've seen egregious examples of people using the moment of this, the occasion of this very unfortunate development to score very petty, very personal, sometimes often cultural, political points that just seem really, really shallow and ill-advised given the gravity of the situation of this current moment. And I'm not going to put one on screen. I'll only reference one. It is the viewpoint expressed by our former president, Donald J. Trump, basically just scoring political points against Biden, using this event, which potentially could spiral out of control and result in nuclear annihilation of most of the human population, using it to score points against Biden. I mean, the smartest thing Trump could do right now is just sit back and let Biden hang himself. But anyway, that's not what I intend to talk about in this video. What I intend to talk about are the people who are saying smart things, the people who are saying things which are ratcheting down our own internal tensions here in the West. Smart, wise things. I'll start off. I don't have a screenshot or anything to show you. I'll just summarize something that Sagar Enjeti said on Breaking Points today. He said, look, I've been really critical and I've been really skeptical of the goodwill and the competence of the U.S. intelligence services, which have been delivering us pronouncements like, the invasion is going to start on this day. We have evidence that Putin already has lists of people to be captured or killed. Sagar treated that with great skepticism and some derision, and he said today those three magic words that really make me respect somebody. He said, I was wrong. I was wrong about that. In this instance, the intelligence community, they were shooting straight. They got it right, and they provided correct information. And, we discarded them because of their past history of, falsifying information in order to justify war. Yellow cake uranium, WMD, Colin Powell. Again, some of you don't remember this. For me, it seems kind of fresh. I've never spoken to Sagar Enjeti. It's quite possible I never will. I have spoken to J.G. Michael of the Parallax Views podcast who expressed something similar. He wrote, this is on Twitter, I, at the very least, hosted some guests on my show that were somewhat skeptical of the invasion scenario. And I was too. So I'll go ahead and say I was wrong, along with some others who've done the same today. Yay! Wisdom. Smart. These are the smart words to say. I was wrong. Epistemological humility. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We can make educated guesses. Sometimes those guesses are going to be wrong. We can pick the story or the option, the narrative that sounds most plausible to us, and that plausible sounding narrative will be wrong. It happens. Doesn't mean you're stupid for believing it. Doesn't mean you're wrong or evil or that you should be, insulted or dragged through the mud. Again, the things for which you should be insulted and dragged through the mud are being said. I'm just not featuring them in this video. Also from Twitter, Noah Carl, who I don't know from Adam, don't follow him. He just appeared, his poll appeared in my feed. Should the West impose severe sanctions on Russia, even if doing so hurts Western consumers and businesses? I don't have a strong opinion on this, but it was a binary, yes or no, so I chose yes. And then I saw, and this is probably why it was in my feed, because I do follow Bo Weidengard. He had already replied, and he puts it in quotes as if this should be a third option on the poll. I have no idea, because I don't know enough about this complicated issue to forward an edifying opinion. Brilliant. Now, I think this particular phraseology, is too long to fit into the allotted space for a Twitter poll answer, but just, I don't know. I mean, had that been an option, that's the one I would have chose. I don't know. I don't know what the effects will be. You know what? The effects of doing what we can to punish Russia and prevent them from selling natural gas and petroleum to Western Europe, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt you. That is going to hurt me. That's going to hurt my kids. If you have kids, it's going to hurt your kids. Industrial society needs electricity. It needs liquid fuels to move cars and trucks, and in some instances trains, although trains are largely electrified. What are we going to do to make up the difference? Something that Crystal Ball said on Breaking Points today, and she was, parroting somebody else, something she'd seen on Twitter, I think, was that we need to have a Manhattan Project now to ramp up nuclear power. And if you're an environmentalist or a leftist who has ideological reasons for not liking nuclear power, well, you need to get over it, because this civilization runs on electricity. And I know one person, and he can chime in the comments if he wants to and identify himself as the author of this quote, but he has said multiple times, it's kind of a catchphrase of his, that using nuclear power to generate electricity is like burning children to power entertainment systems. He feels strongly about it. You can have that opinion if you want to, but I think this particular person would rather see a collapse of industrial civilization and everybody living a 19th or earlier, maybe 17th century lifestyle, rather than continue the current energy usage based on widespread adoption of nuclear energy. I don't feel that way. I think, there is no, in my opinion, graceful way to step down our energy usage dramatically in a short period. That it will come at the cost of enormous human suffering, and probably a rapid and dramatic contraction of the human population. And I know a lot of leftists and a lot of environmentalists, and those are definitely overlapping sets in the Venn diagram, think that would be great. Humans bad. It bothers me that my best performing video ever is this one. Humans suck. I don't think that humans suck. I think humans are magical and unique and special. We are the only intelligence, technology using, complicated symbolic using, sentient force in the universe that we know of. Anyway, humility. More than epistemological humility, though, better in this instance, today, better than saying, I don't know, is just resolving to be non-reactive. If you go onto social media, you will find as much stupidity as you care to ingest, as much outrageous, preening, factionalized, ego-stroking and condemnation of your ideological opponents. I mean, you'll find every variety of it, and you'll find it in more abundance than you can possibly consume, and you will be tempted to respond. Some people will be so self-serving, so non-self-reflective, and just so venal and petty in their presentation that they're just teeing it up, the response. They're just saying, here, swing at this. And as an exercise, I'm not instructing you to do anything, do whatever you want, but here's an exercise. Type up that response. And then don't send it. Don't post it. Cut and paste it into an email and send it to yourself, so you have a record of what it was you wanted to say in response to what on this day, but don't actually put it out there. We need calm, reflective, non-responsive thought. We need it practiced widespread, from top to bottom, in our civilization right now. And, you know, I'm not at the top, you're not at the top. We don't get to make the big decisions about troop deployments or sanctions or the authorization of the use of force or the use of nuclear weapons. We don't have any direct control over that. But what we can do is set an example which, if adopted widely, would bring down the heat. And bringing down the heat is really about the smartest thing we can do right now. In war, you just have like no battle plan survives encounters with the enemy, you know, or survives first contact with the enemy. Things don't go the way you expect them to. Even if you are a brilliant tactician, things don't go the way you expect them to. Things you never imagined were going to happen, happen. And so rather than try to anticipate the workings and the outcomes of a very complex, nonlinear, you know, adaptive system, which is the global economy, the global political system, rather than try to anticipate exactly what actions are going to produce the outcomes that we want, and then strongly campaigning for those actions and ridiculing people who have different ideas, just bring it down a notch. Take some deep breaths. There are plenty, right here on YouTube, plenty of videos where you can go to for a little guided meditation to just bring it down. Bring the temperature down. I think that's about the smartest thing any of us can do today. All right, blah, blah, blah. Talk to you later.